Hey, welcome. Thank you so much for being here on this this Saturday night. We'll go for like 2 hours, and then we'll take a brief intermission, and then we'll do the second act. I'm just kidding. This is going to be like maybe 60 minutes at most, tops. The thing is that there are so many times in my life when, in the heat of the moment, I can't think of something to say. But then after the heat of the moment, I think of a ton of things to say. But there are rare occasions in the heat of the moment when I do think of something to say and I say it. The stories and stuff that I'm going to share tonight are from that second category where I actually thought of something to say and I said it. And I find them remarkable for that reason, and that's why I'm sharing. But here's the thing, I realize that you might not find them remarkable. And that's okay. I mean, I hope that you do find them remarkable, but I realize that there's a possibility that you won't. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just suspend your judgment, if you would, for the next hour or so. Just suspend your judgment and, just be sure to suspend it someplace that looks like it would bear the weight of your amount of judgment. So if you're already judging, for example, then you might have a lot of judgment. So you want to look for a place, for example, like if I were feeling particularly judgy, I would hang it from someplace like this, like a fulcrum or whatever that is, like an archway, or maybe like a threshold, or like if you're in a rustic environment, maybe you have like a cross beam or something like that, because I wouldn't want you to get crushed under the weight of your own judgment. What else? Oh yeah, it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's not easy. It's never been easy. But that's okay. Like, that's fine. It's never, you know what I mean? Were there times when I was left out? When I wasn't included? Yeah, you bet. But I didn't get down. I just enjoyed the quality time with myself, I just sat out there in the alley, drinking a Coke, the same alley that the old ragman would drive down shouting, "Give me old rags, old furniture!" Drinking my Coke, baby. You ever feel like that, old ragman? No? But I'll tell you one thing. I remember it like it was a month and a half ago, or maybe even more. So if you learn something from my life, let it be something useful. Like the way I sing the Batman theme song when I'm cleaning up, like because it makes things, it makes things go faster. Or like when I walk out on jobs, which I've done a lot of in my life, how I just I do the Mission Impossible theme song, like and I just walk out. Let it be something meaningful and useful and practical like that. Don't let it be something that's going to lead you down the path of destruction. I've often said to the man with the money, I've said, hey, let me pay for it. Let me pay for the check. But he says, you just leave the tip. And I say, thanks. But inside, I'm real jealous. And that's a wicked emotion. So relax. You know what I mean? Relax. Smoke a candy cigarette or a I don't know, like a carrot stick or a pretzel rod. You do you, and then vow to never do it again. Relax, man, relax. Go to libraries, go to libraries, man, go to museums, go to symposiums, and then take a good long nap. A nap that brings you so far into REM that you have dreams that scare you and make you cry huge puddles of tears while laughing at the senseless, random perversions of real life where you meet every animal you have ever consumed. So friendly, each one forming a larger piece, a smaller mosaic, which is, dare I say it, the life force that is unconditionally conditional. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And it's not some childhood toy that only you remember, you know, like the Cowboys and Indian Fort, or like the Lost in Space robot. No, no, this is real. As real as a headache in the mind of a bilocative saint with a photo of his childhood pinned right to his lapel in one of those buttons that the crazy nuns make with their fucking Ronco button makers. Oh, silly nun-cum-poops. You see what I did there, right? I said nun-cum-poops. I said nun-cum-poops. Yeah. So in closing, I'd just like to say that the time for words, the time for inaction has only just begun. So go forth. So go forth and go out and avoid eye contact, because the pupils are the windows to the soul. And the soul, what can I say about the soul? Other than I invented an apparatus to keep it from getting rained on. But as luck would have it, I left it in the back of a cab. There. You made me say it. Are you happy? What else? Oh yeah. Nothing. Way to go, Matt. Way to go, baby. Way to get out there and just kick this night off. Way to kick it off with an old bit, just an old bit, an old poetic bit. What you did, that you took that bit and you launched this night with that. Way to go, pal. Way to go, buddy. Great job. You see what I'm doing there? What I'm doing there is I'm congratulating myself, but I'm doing it in a very specific way, right? Like I'm being very specific about it. I'm saying like, great job, Matt, great job. And then I'm picking something very specific, like you took an older bit and you started off, and that takes guts. You know what I mean? You see what I'm doing? And I'm treating myself as if I am a friend of myself. You see what I'm doing? That's because, you know, truth be told, most times I'd say, or a lot of times anyway, I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. But I mean, I know it's wrong to wear someone else's, so I roll with it. But I'm working on my low self-esteem and not making it lower. Of course, I'm working on boosting it up. Boom! I wish I had to work on lowering my self-esteem. I wish I was like one of those people who's like, my self-esteem's off the hook, baby. I gotta lower that shit. Oh, boom. But if anybody can do it, Matamora can. No, that's not me yet. That's not me. I'm the other. I have to do things to boost my self-esteem. Here are some things that I've been doing lately that have been very helpful. When I see someone that I haven't seen in a while, what do they say? They say like, hey man, how are you? And I go, you tell me. Right? And then that puts them in the awkward position of having to say something positive, like, I guess you seem to be doing great. And then I go, thank you. Thank you. You see what I'm saying? I say thank you, but I put in a very subtle head nod. Thank you. Thank you. I think I thank you. Like that, right? Here's something else that I do. I literally do battle. I literally do physical battle with my distorted belief system. Okay, this bit is so freaking contrived. What? Boom! Backhand to the face. Boom! Ugh. Distorted belief system for a bloody nose, and then boom, like that. And then I go, oh, boom, crack it. And then I pick up my distorted belief system. Look at that, he's got pin string. And I throw out the door. And I say, go to hit each other. Hockey sticks, you distorted belief system. Get out of here. That's what I do. And I don't always beat my distorted belief system. Like tonight, I get this house, right? But usually, I don't win in the battle with my distorted belief system, but that's not the point. The point is to do physical battle with your distorted belief system. Just kick its head. Woo! Way to go, Matt. Way to go. Great job. What you did there, you did something that was very, very fit. You felt, actually before you were feeling a little bit nervous. There was a little bit unrehearsed and you should have choreographed it, but you just went with it and you knew the things and you would see, that's the thing. Thank you. Thank you. Again, treating myself as if I am someone who I love, right? Just treat myself like I'm like a friend or a family member, someone that I really love. And come on, man. I freaking love my family. I am crazy. I love my family. That's like, if I could do one thing my whole life, just like be around my family and my friends too, but like mostly my family. And before the pandemic, we had gotten together, we got together, we had a big family get together. And my nephew said, we were ordering food, and my nephew said to me, Uncle Matt, do you want white rice or brown? And I said, you know what? I'll take white rice. And he said, are you sure, Uncle Matt? Because brown rice is healthier, white rice is bleached. And I said, I'm not so sure about that. I don't think white rice is bleached. I'm not sure, but I think that white rice is milled. And he's like, no, Uncle Matt, I'm pretty sure the way that they get it white is that they bleach it. I was like, huh. And then he took out his iPhone and he Googled it, and he was like, oh my gosh, Uncle Matt, you're right. White rice is milled. Brown rice still has the husk on it. In fact, some people think it still has arsenic or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, it's like, he goes to me, Uncle Matt, what did you do? What did you do back in the day when you didn't have like iPhones and you could just like Google stuff and get answers right away? I said, I'll tell you what we didn't do. I said, we didn't have petty conversations. I said, all of our conversations were deeply philosophical. Like I'd be like out there throwing the football with a friend, and I'd be like, man, is God real? And my friend would be like, define God. And I'd be like, oh, come on, man. I'd be like, don't get all William James on my ass. You know what I'm talking about. Is God real, man? And he's like, define God. And I was like, oh, damn it. Why you gotta be like that? Why? I was like, you know, like an omnipotent, why is it an omnipotent? And he's like, being? I was like, no, not a being. And he's like a force field or like an energy. I said, yeah, like an omnipotent like energy or force field. And he's like, where? And I said, everywhere. And he'd be like, even in your underwear? And then I'd tackle him and I'd just wrestle him to the ground, and then we'd roll around with the football and just tackling each other outdoors, outside, rough and tumble play, shirts and skins, you know, no sunscreen, no devices, no computers, just like mano and mano kids rolling around. And then like one of us would pin the other one down to the ground, and then we would look at each other. We would have mad eye contact, and then we hear our mom like, Matthew, dinner time. And then we'd unlock our embrace, go home, go in the house. I'd wash my hands with a bar of ivory soap and floats, right? Remember ivory soap? And then I would go downstairs and I'd go into the kitchen, and all 9 of us, my mom and dad and all 7 kids, would sit around the dinner table, careful not to raise the ire of my dad because he worked all day on the railroad. And then we'd sit there, and after dinner, we'd do the dishes, we'd go upstairs, do our homework. And if we didn't understand something, or if we had a project to do, we'd write things down on an index card, and we'd march to the library and look it up in the Dewey Decimal System card catalog, which I never understood how to use. So I'd go to the librarian and ask her. She was really mean, but it's okay because then I built up my interpersonal skills that you see here before you today. And then my nephew goes like, so white rice? Like, yeah, white rice. Well, guess what? After all that, guess what arrived? You're not going to believe this. White rice arrived, right? White rice came. That's what I ordered. But the thing is, little secret, I would have been fine with whatever came. I would have been fine, like if it was like, I don't know, brown rice came, I would have been fine because it doesn't really matter to me. And I would have taken it as an opportunity, as like a teachable moment with my nephew. I would have said like something like, I don't know, like I would have displayed some flexibility and been like, oh, I don't know, I guess the universe wanted me to have the more fiber rich brown rice. You know what I mean? But my dad always used to say to me, he used to say, Matthew, you are so full of shit, your eyes are brown. And after all these years, I realized that I am not full of shit. I'm half full. And I say half full because I'm an optimist. And if you know me, you know that I'm also an empath. I'm an optimistic empath. And so that's why I connect with, I connect with my nephew, because I've been there, I've been there under the pressure of taking people's orders. Many of my jobs actually were as a waiter. My very first job in New York City, I worked breakfast in a hotel. And I'd start work at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And I remember one time there was this English guy, a very finely dressed English gentleman, and he said, I'll have fried eggs on white toast. And I said, Grant, got it. Fried eggs on white toast coming up. So I put the order in, hang out. A couple minutes later, I see the guy sitting there like this. He's like, bringing down to his plate. And I walked over and I was like, is everything okay? And I looked down and he had fried eggs, but they were not on the white toast. The white toast was on the side. And he said to me, you know, in England, when you order fried eggs on white toast, you get fried eggs on white toast. And I said, wow, that sounds like a really cool place. Woo! Great story, Matt. Great story. Way to go. Way to use that English accent display of skill. Woo! Excellent. Yeah. Like, here's the thing. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why I put the order in wrong. You know what I mean? I don't know why. Maybe subconsciously I did it on purpose. I don't know. Maybe I didn't put it in wrong, or maybe I did. Maybe I read the computer keyboard wrong or something like that, you know, which is possible because, listen to this, recently, I never had glasses before in my entire life, but kind of recently, I went to the eye doctor because we have insurance and we're really afraid the insurance is going to go away at some point. So I figured I'd just go to the eye doctor, get the old peepers checked out. You know what I mean? Since we have the insurance, so I go. Turns out I need glasses, and I had no idea. And I really wasn't sure, like, if I wanted to. Like, wasn't sure if I wanted to get glasses or not. So I called my brother Steve, and I told him the situation. I was like, I just don't know. I don't know if I want to get glasses. I don't know. And he said to me, he goes, you know, you can take them off. And I was like, what the? Mind blown. I was like, yeah, you can take. And he was like, wait, he's like, how bad? And I told him, like, you know, and he's like, and you didn't realize you needed glasses? I was like, no, I had no idea I needed glasses. And he's like, what did you think? Did you just think like the world was just getting blurrier? And I think I might have thought that. I think that I might have thought that the world was just blurrier or getting blurrier, like it was, I don't know, like some sort of side effect from global warming or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm so glad I didn't run for political office, because I might have campaigned on that issue. I might have been like, let's talk about the fact that nobody's talking about the fact that the world's getting blurrier. Signs are getting harder to read, especially at night. The edges are getting fuzzier. Don't get me started about fine print. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? I can't hear you. I can't. No, seriously. I'm having trouble. I'm having difficulty here. And that's another thing. I want to go back to a time when background noise was mucking up our hearing, and I don't have that ringing, that constant ringing, especially in my right ear. Yeah, right? I want to go back. Higgins, 2020 vision. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not as young as I used to be, but none of us are. Am I right? Am I right? I'm not wrong. You like that? Am I right? Am I right? I'm not wrong. That's my catchphrase. I made that up. If you are familiar with that catchphrase, it came from me. You'll know where it came from. It came from me. I mean, I can't prove that I made up that catchphrase, but I'm pretty sure. In fact, I have a list. This is my list of things I'm pretty sure I started, but I can't prove. It's my list. Number 1, the voter sticker thing. pretty sure I started that. I'm pretty sure I started that. There was like one random sticker a long time ago, and I asked for it, and I took it, and then I was like, oh, I'll put it on Facebook. And the world hasn't been the same since that point. The expression, jump in, the water's warm. I started that. 1991 on the corner of 46th and 9th Avenue. I ran into a high school friend who said they were getting married. I'd been married, Tracy and I had been married for a while, and I said, jump in, the water's warm. Cookies and milk for Santa Claus. I think I started that. I can't prove that, but I definitely started. I was the first person to leave carrots for the reindeer. That I know for a fact. Can't prove that, but I know it for a fact. The expression, oh, leave room for milk, please, in like Starbucks and coffee shops. I started that. Drinking the Kool-Aid. You're describing someone who's like sort of like, you know, has like really bought into something, like, hey, really drank the Kool-Aid. I started that. I know that it comes from the Guyana Jim Jones tragedy, that massacre. I know that it came from when I was a little kid. Right after that happened, I said, oh, somebody like really drank the Kool-Aid. And I don't even know if at the time, if the expression was too soon, if that was around, someone would have said it to me like, oh, too soon. That's how early I came up with it. I said it at the point it was too soon to say it. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I know that that's cereal, but I started to use that to, again, describe somebody who's nuts. Call an audible. Let's call an audible. That's a football term, but I took that from football and I brought that into the business lexicon or whatever. And wackadoodle. I started, I'm pretty sure, well, Tracy might have started that. I can't really prove, again, I cannot prove any of this, but I heard recently somebody say wackadoodle do, and I like how they yes-anded my expression. On the back, this is another list I have. This is things I really want to do, but probably won't. I want to, first one, I want to have all of the excess skin on my body removed and then reattached under my arms, forming retractable flesh wings. I thought that would be really cool to do. I'm not going to do it. I'll never do that, but I want to, but I'm not going to do it. I want to own a Harley. I want to own a Harley Davidson motorcycle. I'm just like lately become obsessed with Harley Davidson motorcycles. There's one that's actually parked on our corner. It's probably out there right now. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. And it's matte black. You know, it's like sort of like flat black. And it's a chopper, but it's not too choppery. And it's got like the bar in the back. We used to call them on bikes, we used to call them a sissy bar. I don't know if that's what it's called now. But it's really, really cool. And here's the thing, it's there all the time. And when I walk by it, I pretend it's mine. Like I pretend like it's my motorcycle. You know what I mean? I walk by and like, it's my hog, whatever. Well, here's the thing. Recently, I saw the guy who owns it. I saw the owner, and he had like a saddlebag and everything. And here's the thing, like he looked like he totally fit that motorcycle. You know what I mean? It was like he was rugged and just like, no, I'm joking. But he was like, you know, he looked like he totally fit on this motorcycle. So he's like he's doing his thing, you know, tinkering with it and stuff like that. And so I go like this. I go, hey man. I say man a lot when I'm trying to be cool. I was like, hey man, I really like your bike. Kind of like that, I swear. And he goes, hey, thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks. And then he goes, it's old. It's an old bike. And then I was like, it was like as if this was an entree into more conversation. I was like, yeah, no, man. I was like, here's the thing, man. I was like, it just makes it cooler, man. It's like an old jean jacket or something like that. It just gets like cooler with age, you know what I mean, man? And he goes, yeah, I guess, yeah. He's like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess that. Like, yeah. And then I go, here's the thing, man. I pretend it's mine. And he looked at me, and he was quiet. He was just like looking at me, and it definitely threw him. And I was like, well, I don't touch it or anything like that, man. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa. I was like, I just walked by, you know, but I, like in my head, I go like, oh, that's my hog, you know? And he was like, cool, great. All right, awesome. And I was like, yeah, cool. And then that was the end of that exchange. But now I see him a lot, like when he's walking over toward his motorcycle, and I'm like, we'll make eye contact, and I'm like that. And here's the thing: we have this, I don't know, we have like this, I don't want to call it a bond, but it's definitely a bond, you know, over our bike, you know. So speaking of bond, when I was 22 years old, I worked as a collection agent at a place called Allied Bond in Philadelphia. Whoa! Nice transition, Matt. Way to use the word bond from the motorcycle story and have it be the nice word association. Thank you. Yeah, so I worked at this place called Allied Bond, and I was 22 years old, and I had to get the job, or at least I felt I had to get the job because I was a dad. My daughter Kirsten was born a few months before that, and I had no health insurance at all, so I needed to find a job that had health insurance, and this was the fastest job that I could get. And like potentially, like you could make decent money at it. It was like all on commission on how much you collected and everything. So in the beginning, when I started there, the very first thing that they did, they gave me a new name, a Dunning name. Dunning, I think, Dunning name. And my name, you ready for this? My name was Neil Spring. And now, once they give you your name, from that point on, they only refer to you as Neil Spring. Like they don't refer to you as Matt Higgins anymore. You are now Neil Spring. And then you go through this week of pretty intensive like training on like collection laws and stuff like that, and how to track people down, and then how to get them to the phone and all that, and like the paperwork and all this stuff. So anyway, one of the things that they train you on is how to maintain control of the conversation. Like if it gets out of hand, because people get upset, you know what I mean? I mean, the reason I was doing the job is because I was broke, I was poor, basically, right? And so that's the whole reason I was doing the job. Like, and not everyone there is there for the same reason, and everyone's in the same boat with the people that were calling. Anyway, so my last day on the job, I've got like this little Sally Life, Time Life operator thing, you know, telephone thing. And like in a cubby, you know, but there's a whole bunch of people around, and they monitored the calls. The supervisors monitored the calls. So there I am. I'm talking to this guy, and he was going off on me, right? And I wasn't collecting. They weren't big accounts. They were just like a few $100s or whatever. This poor guy, man, he was like going off like, yo, I can't pay. And he was really, really losing it. Now my heart was breaking for him. And so I went to my list of things to do, things to say. They gave us all these phrases, things to say to maintain, get the control of the conversation back. And he's going off on me. And I just got the paper, and I looked, and I said, sir, I said, let's just take one step back, and we'll handle this like two adults. And he said, my back's against the wall, Spring. And I said, okay, in that case, take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, and we'll handle this like two adults. and he flipped out on me. And for something that he said triggered me, right? And so now we're getting into it on the phone, and he's going like, Spring, I know where Allied Bond is. I'm gonna come there. I'm gonna kick your ass. And I was like, oh, are you real? Okay. I was like, hey, do me a favor. Do me a favor. He's like, what? I said, bring your checkbook, right? Which I thought was funny. Anyway, in hindsight, I wish I didn't say that. I wish, but so one of my supervisors, this guy's really tall, and he had a very deep voice. His name was Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane said, Spring, see me in my office. So I was like, oh shit. Because when someone, see me in my office, that's not gonna end well, right? So I go into the office and I'm like, yeah. And he said, Spring. And there was another guy there too, his partner. I forget, it was some other made up name. And he was, Spring, do you like your job? And I said, is this a trick question? And he said, no, it's not a trick question. Do you like your job? And I said, no. I said, no, I hate my job. I said, do you like your job? Do you like your job? Does anyone like this job? Does anybody like this? This is a horrible job. And he said, what do you want to do? And I said, what do I want to do? I said, I want to leave. And he said, what's stopping you? And I said, nothing. And I thanked him. And I walked out. I said goodbye to one guy. This guy sat next to me who became my friend. His name was Slim. He was a Vietnam vet. Opened up his cigarettes with a knife from the bottom so that he said so he wouldn't get mud on the tip, on the film. Anyway, so I said goodbye to Slim and I walked out, and I had a 1980 Chevette, and it was all rusted, and the side was like all bashed in. The passenger side was all bashed in. And I opened up the door. It was a 2-door. I opened up the door, and I turned the key. And here's the thing: the starter was broken. It had been broken for a while, but I didn't have the money to fix it. But it was a stick shift. It was a manual transmission, right? Transmission. So what I would do is I would put it in neutral. I would like sort of pull it out of its parking spot, and then I would push it, and I would get it rolling, right? And I can remember that day, like doing that, like pushing this, and then I would jump in and I would drop it into first gear, and it would pop start. And I can remember doing that and thinking to myself, like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Like, what? Look at you. Like, look what you're doing, And I had this feeling of that, like as I was pushing the car, like, oh man, your whole life has been a journey to this point in time, And I have that feeling right now that my entire life has been a journey to this point in time, right here, right now. I love to run. Like I love running for some reason. And I go out and I run all the time. And when I'm running, I think to myself, like, what am I doing? What am I running from? Is this a metaphor? You know what I mean? What is this? And I think back that time, like, and I remember at the time thinking, like, when I was pushing the car, thinking like, oh, this is a metaphor. It felt poetic or something. And the same feeling happens to me when I go out running, and I'll run across the George Washington Bridge, and I'll be standing in Fort Lee, New Jersey in like my polyester shorts, and I'll be standing there sweaty, and I'll stop and I'll just stand there, and I'll sort of get off on, like, my whole life has been a journey to this point in time. Right here with polyester shorts on, standing on the side of the road in Fort Lee, New Jersey. What what does it mean? What is this metaphor? What does this metaphor mean? You know what I mean? And like, I feel the same thing. I feel it all the time. I think like, well, what does that mean? I feel, I am I'm a metaphor inside of a metaphor, inside of a metaphor, inside of a metaphor. I am a Russian nesting doll of metaphors. Wait for it. No, I'm not. I'm not a Russian nesting doll of metaphors. I am like a Russian nesting doll. I am like one. Fuck. The whole time, I've been making a comparison using the wrong literary device. Oh, way to go, Matt. Way to go. Woo-hoo-hoo. What could that mean? What could that mean? I'll tell you what it could mean. What? My distorted belief system. I'll tell you what it means. It means when it comes to literary devices, you are the worst ever. That was hyperbolic. The irony of that. I hope you don't think me ostentatious with alliteration, but I get kind of curiously confused when it comes to hyperbole, homonyms, homographs, homophones, homonyms. Case in point. You see this? Do you see a scar right here? I had a cyst, like this thing, benign, this thing on my forehead, and it was growing. And so I had it removed. And after I had it removed, it was like the doctor, the dermatologist at Columbia Presbyterian, she said that was much deeper than I anticipated. And she said, so that's a pretty significant wound you have there. And I was like, okay. And she stitched it up, and she told me how to, there was a big bandage on it. It was like ridiculous. It was like, oh. And she said, she told me how to clean it and how to care for it and everything. And she said, also very, very important, do not go on the subway, avoid the subway. And I said, okay, sure, no problem. I said, but can I ask you why? Like, is it because like, is there like a lot of germs or something like that? Or maybe if it gets crowded, someone might bump into it. And she said, well, no, not necessarily. She said, I want you to avoid the subway because of the stairs, and the stairs will raise your blood pressure. And I was like, I said, I don't know if that actually, I don't think the stairs will affect me that way. I don't think they will, I don't think stairs will cause my blood pressure to go up. She's like, no, impossible. Stairs make everyone's blood pressure go up. And we're going back and forth like this for a while. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm an actor. You know what I mean? I'm kind of used to, people looking at me. And she was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, I'm just, I'm not self-conscious. People, it's kind of what I do. People look at me all the time. She's like, I'm so confused. What are you saying? And I was like, people staring at me. Like, I'm used to people staring at me. And she's like, no. She's like, no, I'm talking about the stairs, going up and down the stairs. That will raise your blood pressure. And I was like, oh, I thought you were talking about the stair, like people looking at me in this ridiculous band. And she's like, no. And then she just stared at me, and I felt my blood pressure rising. So I was wrong on both accounts, completely wrong. I did avoid the subway. It was hard. I loved the subway. I I find that the subway is the mode of transportation with the greatest opportunity for profundity, for profoundness. And I know the subway can be a drag. There's an awful lot of delays and such. It drives, it's hard. It's hard, don't get me wrong. But here's the thing. Again, I'm a technique, I'm a device guy. Not like I do things to sort of keep myself entertained. For example, one thing I always do, I try to do, like if there's a delay, what I'll do is I'll leave a little offering for Metros, the subway god. Metros is the most wrathful and vindictive of all the New York City gods. So very, very important, never curse the MTA, never. Metros will smite you. But what I like to do is I like to, as I stand there, I like to imagine what people's names are as I stand there on the subway, and I'll think like, oh, that's Susan. And that looks like, that's Larry. He's got to be Larry. Yeah, no, Lionel. No, he's Larry. No, he's Lionel. Oh, okay, whatever. And I'll say like, okay, that's Steve over there or whatever, right? And so I name people, I try to imagine, and then what I do is, then I sort of like have this mantra inside of myself, like I try to put out good energy toward my new friends like Susan, Lionel, Larry, and Steve, and I'll think like, I love you so much. I'll think that, and I'll see like if it exudes and it kind of affects their behavior, like this is the best day of my life here with you, that sort of thing. I sort of develop this mantra, and then I play like a game. I'm like, I kind of imagine like whose butt stinks the worst. Whose butt stinks the worst? It's Susan. It's gotta be Larry. Gotta be Larry's butt stinks the worst. Whatever. And then also like I pretend like I can control the rats with my mind. Like after a while, if we've been waiting for a while, I'll be like I'm Willard from that movie in the early 70s, Willard. And like I like control the rats. I'm like, move that box, move that run. You know what I mean? And I then like if it goes on for a while, then I start thinking like, okay, who's gonna crack first? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Susan? It's gonna be Lionel? Who's it gonna be? Who's gonna crack first? And I start freaking out. I'm like, it's me. I'm fucking freaking out. I'm the one who cracked first. Like, damn you, Metros. No. Oh, goodness gracious. I have fun. Oh, gosh. But seriously, folks, no. But I actually do find that the subway offers the greatest opportunity for profound experiences of any mode of transportation. Okay, do you remember there was a viral video of a guy who gave his shirt to a homeless person, a shirtless homeless person? This guy gave his hoodie or whatever. Do you remember that? Did you see that? Okay, it's like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. Well, it went viral and everyone went bananas. They were like, oh, this is amazing. They love this guy. When I saw that, I was like, what? I was like, I did that. Like, I couldn't feel good about it. I was like, what? I was like, I did that. I did that back before. I did that back in the 90s. You know what I mean? When like nobody had cell phone cameras and stuff like that. I was like, I did that. Oh God, and I couldn't feel good about it. I was like jealous and it was weird. I was like, I could have gone viral, And what happened was a very, very late night, and I'm on the A train coming uptown. I'm at 145th Street, right? And I'm just sitting there. It was a super cold night. It was right after Christmas. Underneath, I had layers, and I had on this white flannel shirt. This was the most comfortable. It was just like the best flannel. It was like, I don't know, the thread count was probably off the charts. It was just like the nicest flannel shirt. It was mostly white, but it had like blue and gray in it. I had a blue one like it, like sort of the opposite, sort of like the negative of it or whatever. But this one was just so beautiful and plush and comfortable. Well, this guy gets on and he's got no shirt on, He's got no shoes or socks on, and he got tuxedo pants. They're huge on him, and he's holding them like this, and he's saying, and he had a really high voice, and he was saying, "Excuse me, I have no shoes or shirt. Can someone please give me the shoes or shirt?" And I looked at him, and I was like, "What is going on?" And he was just like shuffling along. And I looked around, no one was looking at him. Everyone was like looking at a book or like just kind of like hanging out. And I looked at him, and we made eye contact. And then he started walking toward me, and I was like, "Oh no." And I looked down, and he stopped right in front of me. And he said, "I have no shoes or shirt. Can you help me?" And I looked up at him, and I looked into his eyes, and I thought, Jesus? And I was like, no, okay. I looked around, and I was like, I took off my jacket, and I took off my flannel shirt, and I like tossed it to him. And I said, "There you go." And he goes, "Is there any money in the pocket?" And I said, "No, but if there is, it's mine." And then he took put the shirt on, and he started shuffling away. And I felt so sad, not for me and not for him. I felt sad for my shirt, because my shirt was like looking back at me going like, "It's not Jesus. This is not fucking Jesus. What are you, crazy? This is not Jesus. This guy lost his other shirt. What do you think's gonna happen to me?" And I was like, Anyway, that's my great story, Matt. Way to make yourself vulnerable. Really way to make yourself vulnerable and put out a flaw. I could thank you. Thank you very much. This guy got on the subway once, and he was talking. Actually, I got on the subway. He was already on, and I sat down, and he was standing there, and he looked kind of normal, but he was talking out loud as if he was talking to people that were listening, but no one was really listening, but you couldn't help but listening. But he wasn't really talking to anyone in particular, and he was just talking. And I was thinking, like, oh, something's going on with this guy. But here's the thing, I felt like what he was saying, he was saying like, at first I really liked de Blasio. I voted for him. I do Christine Quinn, but then I voted for de Blasio. But I'm really questioning my decision now because he's going on and on and on. And I was thinking, yeah, that's really weird that he's speaking this out loud. But I'm kind of like, I kind of agree with him. You know what I mean? Like, he's making sense, but in such a crazy way. I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I'm like, looking at him. He gets off the train, and then I looked at the guy. I made a kind of a guy across from me, and I was like, made sense to me, like that. And then everybody just looked down, and then I realized, oh, now I'm the guy. Like, makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Maybe just breaking social constructs. You don't know what his deal is. You know what I mean? Breaking social constructs. My daughter, Kirsten, one time, I went to visit her at college. I didn't do this, but I'm just sort of like all of it. I went to visit her at college, and she was like, "Oh, Dad, don't mind me. I'm gonna walk on the left-hand side of the sidewalk because I just want to break social constructs." And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. So she's walking on the left-hand side of the sidewalk, and people are like, oh, okay. So she's breaking social constructs. I thought that was really, really cool. And then, so we come back to New York City, and my daughter Una says, "Dad, she's like 5, I guess. She's like, "Dad, can I put my coat on backwards?" I was like, yeah, sure. Let's put our coats on backwards. So we put our coats on backwards, and we zipped up, and we were walking on 9th Avenue, and people looked offended. People are like, "What are you doing to this child?" And we're just like walking along. We got to the corner of 44th and 9th Avenue. We're standing there, and this woman comes up and stands next to me, and she's like looking, and she's like smiling like that. And I said, "Oh, don't mind us. We're just breaking social constructs." And she said, "And in such a fun-loving kind of way. My name's Donna. And I was like, what? You're breaking social constructs too. Yeah, I wish I had that on videotape. You know, I wish I had like security camera footage of that moment. I actually, on my list of things that I really want to do, but never will do, is number 3 is collect all the security camera footage ever taken of me, surreptitiously taken of me. I want to get it all. I want to compile it all. I'll never be able to do it, of course, but I want to get it all. I want to bring it to one place, and I'm going to edit it down to a 90-minute documentary film. And I want it to be narrated by like, I don't know, like Werner Herzog or David Attenborough. I just think that would be amazing. And I think I think it would be genius in its tedium, but there would be moments of drama and comedy and everything. Like, for example, one time I lost my paycheck. All right, I lost my paycheck. I had a $1,500 check that I had been waiting for a very long time. It finally arrived in the mail. I got it. I had been calling the payroll company and everything, like, where's my $1,500 check? Finally it came. I was like, woohoo, I was so psyched. $1,500. So I was like, walking to we lived on 28th Street. I'm like walking to the bank. I'm like, woo, $1,500, baby. On the way to the bank, I swear I had a daydream that I lost it, which I did. I did lose it. FYI, spoiler alert. So I get in, I'm like, woo, woohoo. I'm like waiting in line. I'm so jazzed. I get up there and this is what I want the security camera footage of, because I went from being like super happy and celebratory to being like, where's my check? Oh my God. And I was like, oh my, where's my check? And I was freaking out. And I felt like it was like, It's a Wonderful Life. Like, thank Uncle Billy. Thank you, stupid old fool. And I was like, I can. And I went out. I was like looking for the check everywhere. I was like outside, like in the street, like so upset, like just so upset. I went home. I went back to our apartment, and there's like the door that you come in from the street on the ground floor. And then there's another door by the mailboxes, and stuffed inside the door was my check. It was like the envelope with the check, and written on the outside of the envelope, it said, thought you might need this. And inside, this guy, Mort, who had found it, he put his business card in there. I deposited the check immediately, and then I went home and I was like, I have to write this guy a thank you note, like the most heartfelt thank you note ever in the history of thank you notes. So I went home and I was like, dear Mort, like, thank you from the bottom of my heart, your generosity, on and on and on. And I felt like I really just needed to like pour my heart out to him. So I really wanted him to know. So I wrote, may God hold you in the palm of his hands. And then I thought, oh, that's pretty crazy. Like, that's gonna freak Mort out. Like, I'm freaked out. Like, I was freaked out. I was like, why would you write that? That's pretty freaky. That's pretty scary. So I threw that one away. And again, I was like trying to I just wrote like a really simple but heartfelt thing. But like, I was thinking like what I should have said was, may King Kong hold you in the palm of his hands, because that would be amazing, right? If like Mort was like sitting there like do work at his desk and then tap, tap, tap. Or who could be tapping on my 12-story window? What the Kong? Whoa! What? Whoa! A palm ride? I don't have any sugar. Okay. Oh, be careful of the attack plates. But anyway, but I aspire to be like people like that, like I aspire to have that kind of integrity. That's what I want. I want to live without shame, right? I want to have integrity. That's what I want. But I don't know if I'm there yet. It's a journey, right? I have this friend. Well, I actually, one time, I was taking my daughter Una to see a play at night. It was a 7 o'clock curtain, and I got an audition. I got a call for a commercial audition. I was like, oh shit. It was like August. It was a really, really hot day, bloody hot, really like 100 degrees hot. And so I got this call, and they were like, we want to see you at 6:30. I was like, oh my God. And I'm not in a position where I can turn down auditions. So I was like, okay, all right. So I went, and my daughter came with me, and she's such a trooper. She was just, I don't know, maybe she was like 8 or 9 or something like that. And she was great. So I went to the audition on, I think it was one-on-one casting. Anyway, so I went to, it was like on 27th Street. So I went, and our tickets were for the theater district, like 42nd Street. So I go to this thing at 6:30. I do my audition. I'm done at 6:45. We can walk and get there right at 7 o'clock. It's going to work out perfectly. I look out the window, and there's this like wall of black clouds coming from the New Jersey area. I'm like, what the? So we go downstairs out onto the street level, and it's kind of like, it's like in wholesale area. There's like no stores, anything. All of a sudden the skies open up. It's pouring, torrential, like thunder, lightning. There's traffic. There's no taxi cabs or anything. This is like like Uber. Even still, there was so much traffic. We wouldn't have got there on time. We can't walk because we'll get drenched and we'll be soaked and get sick and all the whole night. I'm looking for a place to buy an umbrella. I can't see any place where to get an umbrella. Then I remember upstairs in the waiting room, the casting agent, there was a bucket of umbrellas. And I thought, oh, shoot, do I steal an umbrella? So I did. So I went up, and I went back up, and I stole an umbrella. I took an umbrella, but I didn't take the nicest one. I didn't want to do that. But in hindsight, I should have taken the nicest one, because it probably belonged to like a jerk, you know what I mean, who could afford a really nice umbrella. Who buys it? Anyway, so I took this like, man, not so great umbrella. So we went, and it worked out great. We got to the theater and everything. But I have to say that like I felt so guilty about it, and I tried to justify taking the umbrella. I was like, well, people don't really own umbrellas, you know what I mean? Like umbrellas just kind of like, they sort of like float around the earth, and people find them and they lose them again and stuff like that. But I stole an umbrella. So I swear like 10 years went by or so. This was like maybe 2010. Right before the old pandemic hit in January, I had an audition there. It was the same casting director, and I had auditioned there over the years, but it was the same guy. And I thought to myself, this is it. I'm going to confess. I'm going to confess to my crime. Right. So I did my audition, and afterwards I told him, I said, this is what I stole. I took one of those umbrellas. And he goes, oh, no. That's what they're there for. I was like, what? He's like, those are lost umbrellas. Nobody owns those. That's what they're there for. I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. And we laughed and everything, but I don't think that lets me off the hook, because my intention was to steal an umbrella. And that's what I did. I stole an umbrella. You know what I mean? So I think I got some penance to do. And here's another thing is that in that time, okay, I don't know if this is causal or if this is just a correlation, but it occurred to me, like, kind of sort of recently, like many years had gone by, and it occurred to me that I had not cried in years. It just occurred to me at one point. I'm like, God, when was the last time I cried? And I was thinking about it. I was thinking like, I haven't cried in years. Oh my God. And I became sort of obsessed with it was like, oh my God, is that wrong? With this thought, I got on the subway. I ran into my friend Rob, and he's like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm just thinking, Rob, like, I haven't cried in years. And he goes, really? I said, yeah, probably like 10 years. And he goes, whoa. Like, it was bad. He's like, whoa. I said, what? And he goes, I cry every day. I was like, what? No, you don't cry. You mean you cry a lot? He's like, no. I cry every day. I make time to cry. And he's like, I take like 15 minutes a day and I cry. And here's the thing, like this guy, Rob, he definitely does that. Like if he says he does it because he's so honest. He's like, yeah, that's what I do. And he's so quirky. I'm like, you cry every day? He's like, yeah. I'm like, are you sad or what? He said, no, I'm not sad. I just do it. It's just like a cleansing. I'm like, so you forced yourself to cry? And he's like, yeah. So I kind of forced myself to cry. Yeah. I was like, that's wild. I was like, Rob, I want a happy medium. Like, I don't want like once every 10 years or every day. I want something in between. But again, just kind of like more like my friend Rob, just like so honest, you know, and that's what I aspire to be. I aspire to be someone like that who speaks the truth. I'll leave you with this. I worked with this a friend of mine named Terry who worked in a restaurant, a very fancy restaurant, and it was really slow one night, and we were food runners. So me and Terry are hanging out, we're talking, you know, and we're talking about soda. We're talking about like what soda we like. I'm like, yeah, we grown up. I had Frank's, black cherry, Wishniak is my favorite. We're going on and on. And Terry says something like that he really likes Pepsi. And this other waiter goes, Pepsi? I only drink Coke. I've never had Pepsi in my entire life. Like that. And we're like, oh, what? You never had Pepsi in your entire life? He's like, I've never had Pepsi in my entire life. Like that. Like, that's not an exaggeration. I've never had Pepsi in my entire life. I was like, no. I was like, you had Pepsi, but you prefer Coke. And he's like, I never drank that shit. What? And then I tried to catch him. I was like, oh yeah? I was like, they serve Pepsi at Burger King. I don't know if they do, but I was like, they serve Pepsi at Burger King. You know what I mean? He's like, I never ate at Burger King. I've never ate Burger King, and I would eat that shit. And so it became this thing for me and Terry, like just going on. I'd be like, I never rode in a car. I never rode in a car in my entire life. I got in a cab one time. I knew they vomited. I've never been lonely in my entire life. I've never felt lonely. I've never needed money. I've never done any kind of job for money. I've never been guilty. I've never stolen anything in my entire life. I've never said anything that I've regretted my entire life. I only say things that I love to say. I've never felt self-doubt in my entire life. I've only felt confident my entire life. I've never felt... What? My butt stinks the worst. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, go ahead and share your video if you would. I would love to talk to you for a couple of minutes. And Trace, if you want to stop recording, you can totally stop recording. Thank you so much, Tracy, for helping me get this together, and I really appreciate everybody joining.